I know people love Goal Fest, but wins come in all shapes and sizes, and that was a good, close, hard-fought win. Yeah, I feel like the Leafs would have dominated if someone just told Luongo what year it is. Hi! Leafs Nation, stand witness for Austin Lucas! Full biblical! Austin Matthews is a Leaf! Why do I watch hockey? Stressfully, mostly. R-U-L!
Victory puppies! You guys aren't allowed in the basement right now, but you still get victory treats! Iggy! Yeah, buddy and Charlie. Boys, there was only one goal last night. What do I even talk about?
Hold the fort, Freddy. Hold it. Hold it.
Take it! Oh, you didn't get it that time.
Here, let's see. Leave it. Leave it. Oh, all right. Leafs win! 1-0 over the Florida Panthers. Do you think after 1-0 wins, Lou Lamoriello gets all nostalgic like, it takes me back? So obviously there was only one goal. When it comes to this game, there's not a ton to talk about, so I don't feel like a 10+ minute video is necessary. But there was also a trade, but even that trade, I don't feel like there's a 10-minute video in there. But there's a game to talk about. There's a little trade. This room is in total disarray, and I'll show you all of it. It's brutal. And I'll get to your questions. So, first period, the Leafs are outshot 13-11 by the Florida Panthers, and that was actually good, because I think I remember at one point the shots were 9-1 for the Panthers or something like that. The Leafs took yet another bench minor, too many men on the ice, which Mitch Marner served yet again. And if I remember correctly, on that power play alone, Florida got 6 shots. So the fact the Leafs didn't give up a goal on that penalty kill, the fact that the Leafs ended up only getting outshot by 2 by the end of the period is impressive. And the fact that they came out of the period with the lead, more impressive. But final minute of the first, Jake Gardiner, long outlet pass to Connor Brown, and he carries it in. Brown throws it around to Gardiner, who gives it right back to Brown. Brown to Bozak. Now it looks like Brown is going around for the give and go, and it looks like Bozak is passing for Brown. In fact, that might have even been his intended target. But JVR goes, yoink, snipe! And the body language of Roberto Luongo says it all. I don't think he knew that the puck was going to JVR, but it did! And he gets his 25th goal of the season, 1-0 Leafs. A few things about this goal I want to talk about. One, considering how much work Brown did on the play, it kind of sucks that he didn't get an assist, but I don't think he cares very much. His line got another goal, and they're red hot. Gardiner with his 33rd assist of the season. He had 34 all last season, and there's still 20 games left. If I'm not mistaken, the last Leafs defender to hit 40 assists in a season was Thomas Kaberle in the 2009-2010 season. Yeah, that's right. I just compared Jake Gardiner to Thomas Kaberle. And a lot of you were going, great offensive numbers, and the fan base is split on him defensively. Yeah, that sounds about right. Bozak gets an assist on this one. He's up to 32 points on the season. After going 4 straight games without a point, he's now got 5 points in 5 games, including points in 3 straight. I said it at the beginning of the season because it's true, and I'll say it again because it's true. The Leafs are a much more dangerous beast when this line is on. You hope that you don't have too many nights like you did against Pittsburgh where one line gets completely dominated. But if the Matthews line does what the Matthews line does, if the Kadri line keeps humming along and this line is going too, how do you stop the Leafs? Really, how do you do it? And lastly, JVR. This tweet just made me laugh. James Van Riemsdyk is going to score the quietest 35 goals in Maple Leafs history, followed quickly by, I just remembered Sergei Berezin scored 37 in 1999. What? But then I saw this one from Justin Bourne. Should prob sell on JVR. I'll only spend a little bit of time on this. We're recording the podcast today. We'll talk about it there. But I think there's 2 schools of thought. One is JVR is having a good season. He's been incredibly hot recently, and really, the Leafs don't use him all that much. His value is sky high, and there's pretty much no way you're going to be able to bring him back. Sell high now. The other school of thought is, what? Dude, the Leafs went out and spent a 2nd-round pick on Brian Boyle last year. Boyle had 0 goals, 3 assists, and most people seem to agree that it was worth it because he assisted on a playoff goal. That's petty. He was also good. But remember the reasoning behind it. It wasn't just Mike Babcock getting a, big, abusive 4th-line center, which he badly wants. If I remember correctly, the Leafs were talking about, well, we want to reward our team for a good season. Dude, the Leafs have 79 points in 62 games. They're tied for 5th in the league right now. Their goal differential, plus 33, is the 5th best total in the NHL. They're one of just 6 teams in the NHL with a goal differential of plus 30 or higher. The Leafs are one of like 8 teams in the league with 20 or more home wins. The Leafs have 17 road wins, and there's only 3 teams in the league with more than that. I understand the cold business thinking behind making a move like this, but I think the message it sends to a team that has performed very well this season is awful. Back to the game. Geez, what do I talk about? Do I talk about William Nylander hitting the crossbar? Do I talk about Leo Komarov, the perfect 2-on-1, and he hits the post? Come on! Or some of you pointed out, well, at least hitting the post is closer than missing the the net entirely. Another one of the Leafs, I think it was Matthews, hit the inside of the post. How? And Marleau should have had a hat trick on his own. I know the shot clock didn't look good. The Leafs were outshot 40-31 on the game by the Panthers. They allowed 40 shots, but the Leafs were outshot 15-5 in the third, a period that they were leading the entire time. Also, the Leafs got outshot by 9 in the whole game. They got outshot by 10 in the third, which means they were actually outshooting the Panthers heading into the third. So they definitely took their foot off the gas, but when it came to scoring chances, I would love to see what the numbers were. Because honestly, I thought the Leafs should have had like 7 goals in that one. How many old school Luongo just doing a snow angel, I need an adult? And Freddie had to do a bunch of those too. I can't believe it was a 1-0 game. Cannot. Now, I gotta be careful the way I say this. I gotta be careful, okay? Maybe the Leafs had better scoring chances than the Panthers. Maybe. Or maybe Freddie is just that poised in the net. Boy, he plays behind a team that gets outshot very often. He plays a ton of games and he wins a lot of them, and we're talking about potential Vezina conversation. Freddie Anderson this year, I'm just gonna say it, reminds me a lot of Carey Price. Sorry, I should say Carey Price prior to this year. Because he just seems so calm in the net, the puck just finds a way to hit him. Shaky third period aside, I thought the Leafs found a way to shut down the Panthers in the final 2 minutes. They made it really difficult to pull Luongo for the extra attacker, and they end up winning 1-0. Moving on, because we don't have time to spare, the Leafs made a trade. The Leafs acquire a 2020 7th round pick from the San Jose Sharks in exchange for Eric Fehr. Yeah, he's still, I know. Well, not anymore. It's so strange. Fehr played very few games with the Leafs, but every time he was out there, I thought he looked good. And then they give him the Milan Mahalik special. They put him on waivers after just a few games, and instead of assigning him to the Marlies, they found a home for him somewhere else in the AHL. Fehr got to play with the AHL's San Diego Gulls, who I believe are the Ducks farm team. 17 goals, 11 assists, 28 points in 37 games down there. Not bad. Believe it or not, Fehr led the Gulls in goal scoring. The next closest guy had 13. So I guess the Sharks want some center depth heading into the playoffs and maybe some size, and if Eric Fehr is a big, heavy player, can kill penalties. So here's what we got. The Leafs get a pick, not a conditional pick, a straight up pick for Eric Fehr, a guy who was essentially a cap dump. But I will say this, I feel like Eric Fehr would have been the Leafs' 4th line center this year had there not been cap restrictions. It was super tight, and at $2 million, they just couldn't afford it. On the other hand, the Sharks get to be the beneficiary of that. And actually, because part of Fehr's salary was buried in the minors, the Leafs get a little bit of cap relief out of this too. So the Leafs get a little draft pick and a little bit of cap relief for a guy they weren't even losing. The Sharks get some depth heading into the playoffs. That's just a smart trade on both sides, honestly. Let's be honest, this is not a big trade at all, but not every team is built through just nailing every first-round pick. You gotta be smart with the little things, and this to me seems like a good example of that. Before we get to questions, let me show you this Brock room. So I'm out in Oshawa, and temperatures have been stupid high in the greater Toronto area as of late. The ground is like peanut butter. Turns out we have a crack in the foundation of the house, and there was a huge leak in the basement. Now, we've had a few leaks before, but for the most part, they haven't affected the blue room. Maybe a little, a little damp on the carpet sometimes, but we were able to fix that, no problem. It was really, really, really bad this time, and now we have to address it. We had to rip up all the carpet because it was soaking wet, and then we had to put a hole in the wall. So this is what the floor of the blue room looks like right now. I had to put down couch cushions and stuff because, well, it's gonna sound like an echoey piece of crap in here unless I do this. This is the corner where all the damage was done. As you can see, we used a hockey stick for something, I don't even remember what, but we had to put hydraulic cement all along that giant crack that we didn't even know we had. This is the effing blue room, man. What the hell? This is where I do all my videos. There's 20 LFR videos still left to do, plus all the playoff games, trade deadline, TV videos for Sportsnet. It's just awesome. And obviously I can just sit down here and it doesn't really matter. Here, do you see any ripped up carpet? Do you see any holes in the wall? No! I don't notice much of a difference in sound quality. So I'm glad I'm still able to make these videos. It doesn't really affect anything, but I'm bummed. This is my freaking dream room, man, and right now it's still kind of wrecked. And this is how it's going to be for at least the next couple months until it's warm enough in the spring that we can dig and fix the problem properly from the outside. Cool. But hey, at least one. Questions. Oh my goodness, which Leaf should I name my new puppy after? Most people say like Poston Matthews, and Garrett Barks was a popular one, but he hasn't been called up yet. The management doesn't get enough love. How about Kyle Arubis? Will Komarov ever score again? Alright, I know I've defended him a lot and some of you are sick of it, but look at this, okay? Here's why I believe in Uncle Leo. This is from HockeyDB.com. All the yellow is Leo Komarov in the NHL. He had 9 points in 42 games when Carlisle basically used him as a fourth liner. Then he scored more than that. 8 and 26, 19 and 36 the year he made the All-Star game, and even last year, 14 goals and 32 points. And I would also say the 14 goals last season and the 19 goals the season before are probably not realistic for the role that you want him to be in. When he scored 19 goals on the Leafs team that finished last, by the way, he was on the first line. So he's not going to flirt with 20 goals on the fourth line. And yeah, he was playing with Kadri and Marleau for the first chunk of the season, but he wasn't going to put up points there either. It wasn't his role. What about Mitch Marner, you might say? That line is completely different now. What are you talking about? Look, all I'll say is it's fair to say, especially after the past 3 games, Komarov's just snake-bitten, man. But he, like most snake-bitten players, will eventually get one. Chicken nuggets or chicken strips? Chicken strips, they're bigger. Sweet and sour or barbecue? Barbecue, you rookie! Which is more likely to happen this year? The Marlies winning the Calder Cup or the Leafs winning the Stanley Cup? Well, I'd be much happier with the second one, but the Marlies are a juggernaut right now, and they should absolutely be a favorite to win the Calder Cup, so I'd be a lot less surprised with that. Hey, how about both? Alright, that is it for this one. Guess what? It went too long. Wow, surprise. That is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Merch down below. You should buy it because it's wonderful. And brand new Panago Pizza Steve Dangle podcast today. Hey!